It's Crafty Jennabug. We're almost to the end of Dephemerember and I cannot believe it. This is crazy. Dephemerember is a daily ephemera inspiration prompt list for the month of December, most of December, 25 days. Hosted by 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel. It's a lot of fun. They've made journals for each other and they are decorating different pages per day, and it's been a lot of fun to watch their videos and also to participate and see what other people have made. I'm having a blast. So today I'm doing day 20, and that is grunge and a snippet strip. A snippet strip is basically a thin, it could be thicker, is a strip of usually collage work, and as you decide how much you need, you cut off. Like, they're good for belly bands, which are strips of material that are glued at just the ends down to the page, so you can put things behind it. For instance, I made one here in a previous video, and it is just a piece of, this one is just a piece of paper that's glued at the bottom and glued across the top, and you can slide things in to be held. I also have another one that I did not film, that I'm not really a huge fan of, but like this. This was actually a snippet strip used as a belly band. So I just cut off what I wanted, glued it at the top and the bottom, and I can put whatever I want behind it, just to hold things in your journal. Today I'm just going to make the strip itself. I'm not going to necessarily utilize it in my journal. I think I want to make a video where I use the things I made for Dephemerember in my journal in one video and just kind of decorate the different pages and such. The animal of the day, now that I've given you that long-winded description of what a snippet strip is, the animal of the day is the mouse, and this little guy is so cute. Louisa and Barbara both made their snippet strips look like cheese, and originally I was like, that's a really good idea, but I don't want to do the same thing. So my little mouse is going to be more of a field mouse, so going back to my garden nature theme that I typically cling to. That's the direction I'm going to go. So my snippet strip is going to look more gardeny. And since it's winter here, I was thinking about making it like a winter garden. Where I live, it doesn't get very cold, so we don't see a lot of snow, but we do occasionally see ice. So I'm thinking like browns, maybe a little green here and there, and some grays and whites is the color theme I'm going to go with today. My snippet strip, I have made snippet strips in the past on parchment paper. So the parchment paper I bought most recently was too wide for my baking sheets. And so whenever I use the parchment paper, I trim off the part that doesn't, the excess. And then I just save it for snippet strips. And that's what we're going to do. I thought about cutting this down. This is actually about, let's see, 4 inches wide at its widest, and at the narrowest it's about 4 inches wide. I thought about cutting it in half, but what I want to do is I want to make a little hidey spot for my little mouse. So I don't want it to be too narrow. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this a wide strip. I could always cut it down later if need be. First things first, since snippet strips are typically collage work of some kind, or, it's a great way to use up scraps. I've got my lunchbox full of little scraps. I'm going to use some of these. I have bigger scraps. I have a big scrap box that I can't actually put under the camera because it is so large. I assure you it's there, and it does exist. And I will be using scraps out of that, and we're just gonna kind of have some fun scrapping around, using up some of these scraps that really need some use. And then I've pulled out my sewing machine And I'm going to sew up and down the snippet roll a little bit. So that should be fun. And I gotta figure out where exactly I want my little mouse to be hiding. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna glue some scraps down to this paper. Now it is rather big, so it's gonna be hard for you to see what I'm doing. I'm gonna start pulling out some different scraps and we'll be back to assemble. Whew. All right, so this is the background so far of my snippet roll. It's pretty chaotic. As I've been working on this, I realized it's very much what a mouse would live in. You know, it looks a lot like a mouse nest. So I'm kind of pleased with that. It's keeping to the theme. Well, I ripped out this piece of book page, and I think it's the perfect size for my little mouse to hide behind. I just want him peeking out, you know? I'm not going to lay it down yet because I don't want it to stick. I don't want the mouse to stick. I want him to be removable. Okay, let me dry this because I might add more, but I really want to sew on it. I really want to sew on this soon and then add a bit more on top. But for now, we've got some fabric, some ribbon, and some cheesecloth. This really is starting to look like a mouse's nest. I love it. And I've got my little tuck spot here for my little mouse. And I've got a tuck spot here for whatever I decide to tuck in there at some point. Yeah. So I'm gonna clean up my desk of the scraps and then use the heat gun to dry the glue and then come back and grunge it up a bit. Alright, this is dried. Now I've moved on to my sewing machine. And let's see how this goes, because I am not the most skilled seamstress. Got some delightfully grungy looking. Oh, that definitely adds to the grunge factor to have all of those stitches. And I'm gonna leave the strings because that adds to the grunge factor. So now, maybe I want to go across here just to tag this down a bit. All right, let's do that. All right, There we go. That will actually stay down now. Yay. Awesome. I love it. I really like it. So now we get to grunge it up. All right. Now it is time to grunge this up a bit. And how I plan to do that is I'm going to take some vintage photo distress oxide and I'm just going to kind of rub it in some places and then spray some water on it. All right, another way I want to grunge this up is by taking a little bit of chocolate brown acrylic paint and watering it down and then just kind of like dribbling it and maybe splattering it. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, I gotta dry this again too. Well, this is delightfully grungy. I love it. Let me get you in for a little bit of a close-up, shall I? So, get this light over here so you can see better. There we go. All right, so we've got this wonderfully grungy bit going on over here. I've got my little tuck spot for my little mouse to live in. I think he'll be very happy there. And then, just moving on, we've got lots of fabric and stitching. And then here we have another little tuck spot. Let me see. Another little tuck spot right there. And then, there it is. So, my little mouse has a home, and I love it. It is super cute. I think it's done. I think it's done. That was a lot of fun. Let's check the parameters for a second. I've got grunge. It is definitely grungy, and it is a snippet strip. So those parameters are met, and I've got my little mouse. So all three parameters were met for the prompt. And yeah, this one was a lot of fun. This was probably the grungiest I've ever gotten while making anything for my junk journal. And it was quite entertaining. So thank you, Barbara and Louisa, for providing the prompt and allowing us to continue to have fun along with the pair of you. Thank you for watching the video, whomever you may be. And we will see you tomorrow for another Dephemerember video. See you then. Bye.